So, good day everyone. Today we will be going to present our research paper entitled The Impact of Social Media Amidst Pandemic Towards Students' Academic Performance. So, social media is constantly changing people's life in different ways. So, today, everyone, especially students, is facing a pandemic that has a huge impact on our daily lives, wherein various social media platforms are affecting every communication, information transfer, knowledge exchange, business, education, and life. So during this pandemic, people are always focusing on their social media. So this study aimed to increase the understanding of the impact of social media during pandemic performance of the students. The impact of social media during pandemic towards academic performance of the students. The impact of social media helps the students to learn despite the pandemic, or they have more difficulties and can no longer focus on their academic performance because students are more focusing on their social media. Yes.
Okay, this paper was all about the impact of social media amidst the pandemic towards academic performance of students, where students nowadays use social media for entertainment and sometimes for educational purposes. Pandemic outbreak is a historically unparalleled adverse occurrence with unprecedented lockdowns imposed across nations, and social media plays an important role during the pandemic. Due to have global crisis caused by pandemic, students cannot go to school and have a new normal setup with different learning methods such as distance learning, providing modules for students and having virtual classes. To improve their academic performance, they need to use social media, especially in school. The uses of social media in schools and universities has increased due to the new teaching and learning norms during the pandemic.
In addition, social media has become a powerful tool to influence the entire world. Social media can be beneficial to students' academic performances, yet it would also result source of failure of the students. As a researcher, as researchers, we wanted to know if there are any social media platforms students mostly used and frequently. Since there are some students choose to spend time on social media rather than studying and absorbing lessons when they are distracted and cannot focus in their studies.
However, many countries affected have opted to limit face-to-face interaction by closing many different establishments. This includes the suspension of classroom learning in schools. Students and teachers have chosen to continue their education on digital platforms. This also includes the use of social media, where they can gather information and data and interact or communicate with one another. Therefore, our research title intends to investigate the association between social media and students' academic performance during the pandemic. They utilize social media like TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and YouTube for entertainment and academic purposes. This study aims to develop the best solution for students who always focuses on social media, which has affected their academic performance, and let the students know the possible impact of social media on their academic performance during this pandemic.
COVID-19 disrupted many aspects of life, such as medical system, economy, and education. Digital advances have also been made in higher education institutions across the globe. The spread of pandemic caused school closures and lockdowns around the world and became one of the biggest problems experiencing in Afghanistan. Social media appeared to be a very useful tool for students to improve their learning process, such as communicate effectively with each other, receive university-related issues, and get other necessary information. The use of social media by students and children could ruin their lives, as well as have a bad impact on their education. Spending a lot of time on social media can lead to a sedentary lifestyle and decrease in daily physical activity levels, which in turn can can render them vulnerable during the pandemic.
The spread of pandemic caused school closure and lockdowns around the world and become one of the biggest problems experiencing in Afghanistan. Social media appear to be a very useful tool for students in their lessons as they use them to improve their learning, such as communicate effectively with each other, receive university-related issues, and get other necessary information. Their negative effect seems to be very poor as compared to their positive effects, as they describe that too much use of social media was a concern. Pandemic is a menace for Pakistan's fragile and overburdened healthcare system and infrastructure. The use of social media by students and children could ruin their lives as well as having a bad impact on their education. Social media diverts the attention and the concentration of students towards activities and time wasting such as chatting on non-educational topics.
Good day everyone. I will be the one who will discuss the impact of social media amidst the pandemic towards academic performance of students in the country of Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, the impact of social media during pandemic towards student academic learning and performance has more adverse effects than positive. Students spend more time on social media sites, watching movies, playing games, chatting online rather than on educational activities. According to studies, spending more time on social media can affect also our mental health, especially emotional, psychological, and social well-being that could lead into depression and anxiety, which also has a big impact on academic performance of students. So here in figure 1, this data represents the most used social media platforms on the three different countries: the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Reddit, and LinkedIn. The blue bar graph represents to Pakistan. The red bar graph represents to Afghanistan. And then the green bar graph represents to Saudi Arabia. This data states that the students most used social media platforms among the 7 platforms is the Facebook, followed by Twitter, and then the YouTube. So let's tackle figure 2. This data shows the daily time spent of students using social media in 3 different countries. In Pakistan, students spend 4 hours and 15 minutes. In Afghanistan, they spent 2 hours and 25 minutes. In Saudi Arabia, they spent 3 hours and 6 minutes. This data means that the students who spend more time on social media are likely to demonstrate a poor academic performance. So that's all for my part. Thank you.
According to the research, Facebook is the most popular social networking platform among Filipino students during a pandemic. In addition to keep in touch with friends and family, students use Facebook to keep in touch also with the professors and fellow students while they are in class. However, they do not utilize the social media site only for the purpose of socializing or gathering social information. Students who regularly engage in social media have better grades and a broader online presence thanks to the growth of the social capital, which is measured by the number and quality of connections, relationships, and interactions. Students' academic performance is impacted by their use of social media throughout the pandemic. On the other hand, Twitch is the least used social media platform by students as an interactive video transmission platform that presented an interesting digital resource to increase the motivation of students in the learning moment and as a social platform initially designed as playful, interactive, and entertainment digital space.
To solve the issue or problem experiencing in Afghanistan, it is suggested that students should manage and monitor their time using social media between academic study. It is according to Haidari et al. 2020. In Pakistan, students limit their time spent daily in non-educational topics and give enough time for academic purposes. With this, it shows positive impact towards the academic performance of the student during this time of pandemic because they spend time using social media platforms that will help them able to generate ideas, share information, and concept related to their studies. This is according to Amin et al. 2019. For instance, in Saudi Arabia, they determine the time spent of social media platforms for entertainment and academic purposes. They create awareness of what are the negative impacts of social media and help students excel in academic progress. This is according to Abbas et al. 2019. However, in our country, social media can be used as a learning tool by teachers and students in improving their academic performance. But uncontrolled use of social media reduces the study time of the student during this time of pandemic that gives negative impact towards their academic performance. In this case, to combat the issue about the impact of social media during this time of pandemic, students need to manage properly and avoid get addicted to any social media platforms. For we conclude that during this time of pandemic, social media appeared to be very useful tool for the learning progress of the student because students use social media platforms for sharing information, academic purposes, as well as for entertainment to unwind academic stress.
The issue about the impact of social media amidst the pandemic towards academic performance of students are not yet eradicated since there are some countries banned social media platforms. Since they find it as one of the reasons of students' addiction in using social media, the students cannot focus on their academic achievement. On the other hand, countries who experience different issues or problems about the impact of social media on students' academic performance continue addressing different methods or course of action on how they will control the usage of social media that has positive and negative impacts on the students' academic achievement.